Nice. The heck was that? A skill issue, to be honest. So what had happened was, okay, so for context, when I go to do the backstrike, what I try to do is I try to keep the camera facing the direction it's facing, and then turn so my player character is facing my way, and then just, you know, without looking, throw my Pokemon out at the Flamigo to get the backstrike. And what happened there was I didn't aim it correctly. I was facing a little bit to the, I guess, left. And so I just sort of threw Fuecoco out and didn't hit the Flamigo. So then I had to recall the Fuecoco, and then I had to rethrow. And in order to rethrow, I needed to line myself back up in such a way that that was actually pretty good. I needed to line myself up in such a way that I would then throw at the Flamigo. And by pressing down to line myself up, I moved a little bit too far and actually ran into the Flamigo. So 100% my fault, but we can blame the game if we want. Thanks, game. Exactly. Pop. Doing it like that's fine. It's just I need to turn the camera before I get into the battle too much. Like that. Because the direction that the camera is right then is the direction the camera will be when the battle ends. And so I want to be able to see where I'm going. Because the amount of times I've come out of this Flamigo fight, buffering the direction to move without looking in that direction, and then running into like a Rookity or something is ridiculous. That's an interesting idea. I've been saying for a while that I really don't like the way, and this kind of ties into what you're about to say, like what you were saying, I think, personally. I don't like how the games make things hard to catch by making them unlikely to catch. They're not actually difficult. They just are very unlikely to be caught. And so I think having... I don't know what the answer is, but I wish things that are supposed to be difficult to catch are actually difficult to catch. Like, Let's Go is a good example, where it's like the legendary birds are actually difficult to catch, in addition to being unlikely. And having some sort of puzzle associated with a catch would actually be kind of fun. We can continue. Let's go. It's not the best Flamigo in the world, but it'll do the trick. We don't need the best one. We just needed a scrappy one. So this Flamigo is actually pretty decent. I always feel the need to explain this. So what you're looking at for the stats is not the nature. The nature almost straight up doesn't matter. It's not entirely true. That is a critical hit. What is more important than anything else is... I should say, the attack and speed IVs. So the IVs can be anywhere between 0 and 31. Ideally, you have a set of IVs that add up between attack and speed to about 20. Between 20 and 30 is like the minimum that you really want. You can do it with any Flamigos, but a good Flamigo is one that has somewhere between that range. And the reason for that is later on in the run, we're going to be using a bunch of vitamins to increase our stats. And we're going to be using a bunch of vitamins to increase our stats. There is a speed threshold that we have to hit, and there are some attack thresholds we would like to hit. And so the idea behind it is you buy the number of carbos you need to make your speed good, and you buy as many proteins as you can afford with the money left over. So we have the money to afford about 22 vitamins, 26 if we commit to doing something a little bit slower. So in my case, this is actually really good. I need about 1 carbos, and in order for me to guarantee everything with my attack, I need 15 proteins. So I actually have enough money for everything I need, and then some, which is a great place to be in. It means realistically I can skip picking up a bunch of money items. I think I'm still gonna pick up mostly everything, but I could get less. What's actually part of the run? You start post-tutorial and do Path of Legends Victory Road? Yes, so we're going to be doing Path of Legends Victory Road and Starfall Street. We start after the school, and we end when all 3 of the storylines are completed. So it's really like the middle, the guts of the any % run. It doesn't have the 45-minute intro. It doesn't have the 45-minute ending. In my opinion, it's any %, but good. Any %'s a good category, but I like this one better. It's just this one's a bit less popular because it's considered a secondary category, so it's hidden on the leaderboards. Yeah, the Starfall stuff is... We do almost all the Starfall stuff at the end of the badges. We're going to get all 5 Titans, then all but one badge, a gym badge. We'll do basically all the Starfall Street, and then, yeah. All right, so all right start. I lose about 12 seconds over my PB on that split, no matter what, just because of a route change. So being 15 behind is not too bad. Oh, I just completely forgot where I was going. All right, so after we get Cloth, we now have the ability to dash, and we're going to go ahead and make use of that by dashing across the map. We're going to be picking up a bunch of items, a bunch of TMs that we're going to sell, like this one. Some healing items as we go through. This game has a really cool auto-heal mechanic. So the more basic healing items we can get, the better. And the main focus of this movement is on the rare candies and experience candies we're going to pick up. So we're going to be picking up a ton of both of them. That's going to be the case throughout the run, but we're going to get a bulk of them here. The next fight we do, we're going to be level 48. And we are currently level 26. I was... All right, cool. Literally mashing B there. Any percent, no area 0, no beginning either. So you start at the end of school. And it is worth mentioning there are some treasure hunt specific optimizations that we can make, and that we are going to be making in this run that you cannot do in 80%, or rather you shouldn't do in 80% because it would be slower. But it ends up being faster here. I was a little at the mercy of those Litleos, and it worked out. Hate the camera there, so I always take it a little bit slower than I need to. All right, this is not one of the single story runs. Actually, every single story run drops down to Dolly Zappa Passage there, but any percent we don't. I don't need that candy. That is a candy I am skipping. That is part of my treasure hunt specific route change that only works for Scrappy. And only works for good stats. All right. Really got to keep your eyes peeled through this whole area for encounters. You also see me, like, tentatively approach trees like that. Trees can sometimes have Pokemon sleeping underneath them, and sometimes they aren't loaded in. And if you just sort of bust through, you can end up getting an encounter by accident, so... By tiptoeing up to it, I just minimize my chance. It's still totally possible to get the encounter. But I'm just minimizing the chance. Here we're going to go for a slide. When you fall from tall areas and hit the ground, Koraidon does like a stop animation. Not like that. That's really unfortunate. Can I get back to the slope and come up? Nope. All right. Sick. Thank you, Satoddle. Thank you, Satoddle. Oh my god. That's fantastic. So the run isn't over if that happens, and I don't get bonked by Satoddle. The game will correct you after a certain amount of time of you being in that, like, permanently falling animation. It's just it does fade to black and then reload you somewhere. So getting that is just really hype. I did see that, Spider, yeah. I've seen that too. All right, so now we're going to use the bulk of our candies here. We're not going to use any of the rare candies. We will use the rare candies soon enough. We still have some more EXP candies to use. Generally speaking, when you're using EXP candies and rare candies, you want to exhaust all of your EXP candies first. Because a rare candy is technically worth a variable amount of experience. It's worth 1 level, as opposed to like an EXP large, which is worth 10,000 experience. And so it's possible for you to get like only 100 experience worth out of a rare candy if you use it at the wrong time. And so it's actually pretty particular when you want to use these items to get maximum benefit. A few more rare candies, another EXP candy. This EXP candy that I'm about to pick up on top of that little mound is actually going to be used on the Fuecoco. Flamigo just didn't want to come out. So if you do the let's go thing, you didn't pick it up? Oh my god, I was trying to prove a point. Oh, that's so frustrating. Normally, if you do the let's go thing, and there's an item there, the Pokemon will pick it up. So when there's a Pokemon, a wild Pokemon, standing on top of the item that you want, you can sometimes get away with doing the let's go. Not every time, though. It's so frustrating. I'm going to lose me a ton of time between all those things. Whatever. At least we got a funny clip out of it. The stupid Satoddle. We also need to check our stats. Yeah, we basically get ourselves up in level enough to one-shot both phases of this Ortworm Titan. Orthworm's going to give us the ability to jump really high. It also allows us to one-shot everything in the Electric Gym and the Grass Gym. Exactly. I gotta look at my most important stat first. 83 special attack. Let's go. All right. 116. All right. 6 speed. So this is actually really good. Because it means I need 0 carbos. Like, actually no carbos. Which is hilarious. Alright. Cool, cool, cool. All double digits. Good Flamigo to me. All right, so we're going to lose some time. Very expected. Just with the infinite fall plus whatever happened with the let's going. But we've got time to save elsewhere. All right. So you might think that Crocolore getting passive experience and evolving is pretty slow, and you are kind of right. But we're going to be using the Crocolore for some stuff later on, so it wants to evolve anyways. Other Pokemon games typically have a section where you need 2 Pokemon because it's like going through double battles, doubles gym, something like that. Which is the case in this game. But this game also has a mechanic that requires you to have 3 Pokemon. And so Crocolore would be gaining all this passive experience anyways. Even if it wasn't... It's going to be used before this section as well. But even if it wasn't used there, it's going to gain enough passive experience that it will evolve anyways. So having it evolve now is totally fine. And honestly, the extra levels do help later as well. But yeah, that is the Orthworm Titan. I gotta say, between the Infinite Fall and the Let's Go stuff, only losing 20 seconds does have me hopeful for when I come back to this and do more like attempts. Right now, the main goal is to finish a run more than anything. It's gonna be Iono time. Which the movement in this section is actually kind of cool. It's fairly short. It's fairly quick. It's not as, long-winded as the section we just did. But it's actually the result of a pretty neat route optimization we did. So the way that the route used to work is you would fight Cloth, then you would go through the grass gym town, fighting Brassius along the way. Then go all the way to the electric town, which is where we're heading next, which is right adjacent to this area. You wouldn't fight the electric gym yet, but you would get the fly point and then continue onward and fight Orthworm at that point. Now, one of the problems is you don't have the extra levels you need to one-shot both phases. I think you would one-shot the first phase, but two-shot the second, if I remember right. Honestly, you may two-shot both of them. I don't remember. But what would end up happening is in order to get from the electric gym town to this area, you have to jump. You have to go around this like big mountain that you can't go through and you can't go over because you don't have the abilities to climb or jump really high. But since we're approaching it from the other side and we have high jump, we can actually just go right over that mountain on the way to the electric town. So it all in all ends up being faster, including the fact that we can go around the world and get all those candies in one shot, both phases. So that was the last like major route change. We have some like slight order changes that don't really affect the route too much that we've done since then, but that was like the biggest, most recent thing. All right, so here's that movement. Yeah, so the electric chim is like basically just on the other side of this big mountain, and we can jump real high. Jump. That was actually good. All right. That second jump there is kind of tough, and then you jump onto that, jump here, and there's the town. Get a little slide. This town is one of the most laggy in the game, so we do want to be careful when it comes to like looking around too much, because you can easily lag your game a ton. So definitely want to look down as much as possible. Jump over the people. And once we get into this gym, we're going to get given a cutscene. Yeah, exactly. So for the Victory Road storyline, which is all of the gyms, you get given a cutscene the first time you enter a gym with a new number of badges. So for example, this is the first time we're entering a gym with 0 badges. If we were to then leave and go somewhere else, we would not get this cutscene. And once we've beaten a gym, we would then get a cutscene the next time we enter a gym. And this is relevant because the first time you enter a gym with 2 badges and the first time you enter a gym with 6 badges, you get given a Nemona fight. And those Nemona fights you can lose. However, like, we're not going to be losing now, so I don't know why I'm explaining it. No. I knew that was going to happen. As soon as I hit A by accident instead of Y to move him, I was like, I'm going to end up closing out of this menu. But it's fine. But yeah, so basically you get a cutscene the first time you enter a gym. You also get a cutscene after you beat every gym. And the cutscene you get is based on the number of badges it is, not based on which gym leader it is. That's actually a relevant thing as well for Starfall Street and Path of Legends. All of them have like a component that is dedicated to which one you defeated, and then they have a component that is dedicated to how many have you done. Which meant that reordering splits was also always like a real problem, because even if I would do Iono and then Brassius, that split between Iono and Brassius could just be different based on which number of badges I had, which was kind of funny. But yeah, there's going to be a Nemona fight before the 3rd badge and before the 7th badge. There's also one after the 5th badge, and you can lose all of those. So it's very important that you remember to swap in something that can actually die before each of those badges. Or before each of those Nemona fights, I should say. All right, pretty simple minigame here. This minigame is not random. So you end up with the same solutions every time. So you just have to memorize where. It's like a Where's Waldo puzzle. You just have to memorize where the guy is standing. So there you can see Scrappy doing its work. This Luxio is not always Intimidate, does not always have Intimidate as its ability. And if we were not Scrappy, it wouldn't matter. This Luxio goes down. We do want to make sure we're Scrappy for the Iono fight, which is the gym leader here. Otherwise, we would just have to be at a higher level. It's not like it's run over if you're Tangled Feet. So here he is standing in the Pokemon Center. You do want to be careful not to accidentally click on somebody else, because it doesn't, like, cause an extra battle or anything. But there's, like, a whole animation where it zooms in, a whole animation when it zooms out. I know, right? It's kind of cool, though. Like, I'm all for it. We don't actually use Scrappy ever for the Scrappy part. So Scrappy was an ability since at least Gen 5, probably before that, where you can your normal and fighting type moves will hit ghost type Pokemon. And in Generation 8, they just added the ability for it to block Intimidate as well, which is huge. It's a very nice thing. Nerfing Intimidate is always welcome. Matic, thanks for the good luck. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. All right, so that is the end of this puzzle. We go ahead and do the gym. Oh, the rain. So rain is something you also want to try to avoid. I mean, I say try to avoid like you have a opinion in the matter. It adds a little bit of lag to the game, especially in this town, being as laggy as it is. The rain is not very welcome, but you just kind of have to deal with it. Weather does impact a couple of fights in the run. But the one notable thing, I should say, about weather is that if the environment weather randomly changes during a battle, it does not take effect right away. So if a battle starts and it is not raining, and it starts raining mid-battle, your water moves will not do more, and your fire moves will not do less. Likewise, also relevant to the run, if it randomly starts to sand in the middle of a fight, it will not hit you, like it will not buff at you with sand. Which is kind of nice, but it's also a little nerve-wracking, like if you're sitting there waiting for the weather to change, and then a battle starts. It's just kind of interesting. But yeah, for the most part, weather is just a nuisance when it comes to lag and visibility and stuff. Not really for battle stuff. It's gonna sound fake, but 100% legitimate thing is there is a section of the game where if it rains, you will lose 20 seconds to your frame rate dropping. It has nothing to do with battles or anything. It is literally the game lags so much you will lose about 20 seconds. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to sit there and take it. So Mismagius goes down. All the gym leaders are going to have a Terra type. For the most part, their Terra Pokemon are they'll all Terra into the type of the gym leader. So Iono's electric, so the Mismagius turned electric. But in almost all cases, the Pokemon is not normally that type. So, for example, one of them, it's going to be a Toxtricity, which is a poison electric Pokemon, is going to turn into a ghost type, which is really cool. Albeit quite predictable, because Gym Leader sends out a Pokemon that has nothing to do with their type. It's like, all right, well, this is obviously the Terra Pokemon. All right, so after this, we need to go grab another rare candy in the middle of town, and then head to the grass gym, picking up another couple of rare candies. And then hopefully the rain should be stopping really any minute now. Thanks for the good luck, Handy. Appreciate it. The rain should be stopping any minute now. Weather has the opportunity to change every 5 minutes. So if you know when the weather last changed, you can kind of predict when it will change. And like I said, the rain has stopped. And having rain for the next gym test is not ideal just because of lag reasons again. Hey, we're about to go do that fight right now. All right, I'm going to try slightly modified movement here. If I get punished, oh well. Cool. The slightly modified movement was, rather than doing a high jump, I did the lowest jump you can do. In theory, it should be faster to do a lower jump than a higher jump. I don't know how true that statement actually is, which is why I said in theory. Yeah, this is another town that has a bit of a lag issue. It's not as bad as the two towns. One has the electric gym and the other one has the water gym. Those are easily the two worst towns when it comes to performance issues in the game. But this town is honestly up there. All right, so this gym test involves playing hide and seek with a bunch of Sunflora. You have to find 10 Sunflora, and there are probably around 20 of them. So you have your choice. No thanks. So you have your choice of which Sunflora you want to grab. Which is nice because some of them require you to battle them. And so we want to try to avoid that for speed reasons. So there's 3 right at the start. We're going to head over this way and grab 1 by the lake and then 1 on the dock. Come back this way. 1 underneath the gym platform. So when we do the gym battle, it'll actually be up on that platform. 1 right here, 1 by the vending machine. If you're not careful, you can accidentally hit the vending machine and like talk to it and try to buy something from it. It's kind of ridiculous. And we just got rain again. That was faster than 5 minutes. That was like a 4. Oh, maybe it was 5. Because it was still raining during the battle. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, aside from the rain happening, that was essentially a perfect set of Sunfloras. So one of the reasons why we do this fight now, as opposed to like later on. So you start the run with Flamigo at 17. You get it to 25 for the cloth fight, which is just the highest you can get it realistically without going out of your way for a lot more levels before you have the dash ability. We then get a bunch of candies and we take a side detour to go fight Orthworm, because having high jump is really nice for some future sections of movement. And we fight Iono because we happen to be in the area for Iono, and we're high enough level to defeat her. Brassius, we could avoid. We could just not do Brassius now. There's really no reason for it. There were no items here that are super necessary. But one of the reasons we want to not be at our fully highest level, which is like 73 when we do the rest of the gyms for the most part, is because the final Pokemon here is a Sudowoodo, and the Sudowoodo has the ability Sturdy, meaning you cannot knock it out in one hit. However, you can knock it out with a double kick, because double kick, it counts as 2 separate hits. And the reason why we want to be at the level we're at, as opposed to at level 70, is because double kick will not one-shot with a single kick, meaning you do not get the ability text for Sturdy unless you get a critical hit. And so it's kind of the sweet spot of we can guarantee the one-shot, but not trigger Sturdy, which is kind of cool. I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, see? Yep, exactly. It's a situation we might run into later. There are another 2 Pokemon that have Sturdy in the run. One of them we deal with the exact same way as this. We double kick it. The other one, we actually do 2 separate turns. We'll low kick twice. And unfortunately, we're going to be using enough proteins to where we can one-shot some other bulky things later on. But the, like, amount of proteins you need to one-shot some stuff overlaps with being too high of your attack, or having your attack be too high to where you trigger Sturdy on another Pokemon. So in general, we value getting the one shot more than not triggering Sturdy. But that is actually a reason why, if the notes say buy 15 proteins and you can afford 16, like, you shouldn't buy 16. You should still buy 15, because going too many just gives you more and more chances to trigger Sturdy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and withdraw Lechonk. We now have 2 badges, meaning the next time we enter a gym, Nemona is going to fight us. We would like to avoid that, so. Or we would like to have a Pokemon that can lose the fight easily in front. So we're going to go here. We're not going to actually fight this gym yet. We're going to fight this gym. This is going to be the 7th gym we defeat. But by entering it now, this area has some of the fastest loads when it comes to this Nemona fight. I think it's actually a really cool thing, is because these Nemona battles happen based on the number of badges you have and not which badges you have, you can, like, everyone going through the story is going to sort of experience it a little bit differently. Like, oh, I fought Nemona in this town, and that kind of thing. And because of that, it actually matters like which ones load faster. So we actually do 2 of our Nemona fights in this gym, and we're going to do one of them in a different gym, and that one like can't be moved for reasons that we'll talk about later. It's also beneficial to enter this gym now, because when you fly to this area, you end up at the top and you have to drop down to get to the gym. And when you take the gym test, in order to do the gym test, you have to be up top. So when we fly back here, we're going to be right next to the gym test. And not have to kind of like go up and down and up and down. Something I'm going to do is going to lose me a little bit of time, but it's a bit safer, just in case I get unlucky. Is I'm going to withdraw Flamigo now. The next thing I'm about to do is a bunch of movement. And as soon as I'm done with my movement, I'm going to open my menu and do stuff. So it would be better to consolidate that into one menu. But if I happen to run into an encounter, then only having Lechonk in my party means I won't be able to run away and I'll just die. I know, right? Level 3 Lechonk. Destroying all these gyms. Alright, this movement here is a little... not trick. It's tricky to do fast, I feel. Oh, I never gotten over the fence there. I am super pleased with that. I almost hit the Cryogonal there. That would have been capital T tragic. Ooh. Anytime you get launched off the mountain like that, you're just asking to get the slow fall animation. All right, so we do that to tag the town so we can fly back there. Now we're going to head down this mountain. There's really nothing over here in terms of towns, but there is an EXP Candy L underneath this tree. And then there are 3 EXP Candy L's underneath this tree. And let me tell you, when that was found, it changed everything. All right, so that's 40,000 experience we just picked up. That trip is 100% worth it. We're then going to grab this. It's another 2 medium candies. A 3rd medium candy right here. Rare candy at the top of this. Hop down. See, in some places you can just jump down the mountain, and it's the fastest way to do it. Grab that TM. That is for money. Grab that. There we go. Being a little careful because sometimes, like I said earlier, Pokemon can be invisible underneath trees. Another 3 mediums there. That was that little fall animation we've been trying to avoid this whole run. We're going to tag this Pokemon Center. We're going to fly back to this center a couple of times, even though it's kind of just in the middle of nowhere. It ends up being the fastest way to get to 2 areas. Drop down here and get the slide. Ooh. And we are off the mountain for a while, actually. Be going back to the mountain for like an hour. But we still have some more items to pick up before we make it to the next town. So this here is a rare candy. Be very careful to grab it I didn't mean to do the tall jump. I don't know why I did. You got to be careful to grab that before you fall down. Because if you do fall down, you can't jump back up easily. You have to go back across the bridge and go all the way around. So it's kind of punishing to miss. And something that's worth mentioning. So we use turbo for this game. Most people do, I should say. You are allowed to not. It's just most people do. And you can be holding A and turboing A, and the game just does not pick up an item. And it is so sad when that happens. All right, so because we've already entered a gym with 2 badges, we do not get a cutscene here. We're going to take the gym test. And then we are going to use all of our EXP candies. We're not going to use the rare candies yet, purely because we're about to pick up 1 more rare candy and then use them all at once. So it's just slightly fast. It's like the time it takes to use a single item. We're actually also going to gain a level naturally on this fight. So using the rare candies would be pointless. That is part of my treasure hunt specific route change. Which actually it could be done in any percent as well. Skipping 2 mediums. All right, so this gym test, what you're supposed to do is walk around town fighting people and getting clues to what the answer here is, but the answer doesn't change. So we do that, that, and that. If the answer did change, it sucks, but the fastest way to do this would just be to guess constantly. Probably do like 1 fight to narrow it down a little bit, but you wouldn't do all the fights, I don't think. Oh, I need the notes for this section. I have to do... Yeah, okay. So something that's actually relevant on this fight in particular is because we can't turn off animations, the goal is to use whatever the fastest move animation is that will also give you the best result. Like, so if I'm trying to one-shot stuff, then I have to use the fastest move that one-shots the Pokemon. This fight in particular, wing attack is faster than acrobatics, so you would like to wing attack the Kamala if you can. I couldn't, so I had to acrobatics. Acrobatics is faster than a super effective low kick, so you would like to acrobatics the Dunsparce, but I couldn't. Because my attack is just too low. After this fight, my attack stat gets so much better because we're about to use an Adamant Mint, and the Adamant Mint will change my nature from timid, which is minus attack plus speed, to plus attack minus special attack. And we're not using any of our special attacks, so that makes that stat not matter at all. Or like it doesn't matter that it's minused. And then Adamant's what we're going to be for the rest of the run. Depending on my stats, I might have to switch to Hasty at some point. But this particular Flamigo does not have to worry about that. Hasty is plus speed minus defense. And then if I had really bad attack, like under about 19 IV, I would actually consider double kicking. Oh wait, I have 18 to 19. That was a range. That was a 15 and 16 range I just went for. But I would consider double kicking if I had much worse attack, just because it does more damage than acrobatics does. Yeah, so a couple seconds lost there. That's not too bad. We are about to almost certainly lose time on this next split due to a route change. So, it's not as big of a route change as the whole doing Orthworm early versus late, all that kind of stuff that I was talking about earlier. But the most recent stuff I've been messing around with, and I don't have a PB in any category that has this change since coming up with this change. It's really annoying. Is normally after this section, we're gonna go to the water gym town to get the fly point and start the gym test. Then we're gonna fly to Mezagoza and make our way to the bug gym town. We're not gonna actually fight the bug gym yet, but we're gonna get the fly point and everything and continue onward. And that's normally the way we would do it. However, we found that if you, instead of flying to Mezagoza, fly to the academy and then go to the bug gym town from, like, via the Pokemon League. So go to the Pokemon League first, get the fly point, and then go around. It's slower now, but it saves a ton of time later. We're talking like it's like maybe 20 seconds of extra movement to save 35 seconds later. So we're going to be doing that here. But because of that, it will look like I'm losing time on this split. Because technically I am. But it will be time that I save much, much later. All right. Good little backwards jump to get up there. And then this, like the gym, like the town with the electric gym, is one of the laggiest towns in the game. But we're going to get the gym test here. This one you don't have to actually enter the gym, which is kind of interesting. Not to get the gym test anyways. All right, so now we're going to fly back to the academy. And then head to the Pokemon League. Here, have this wallet. Yeah, hopefully you'll bring it to the guy. It wouldn't fit in a kid's game, but it would be funny if you could, like, take some money out of the wallet, but if you take too much, you get in trouble. You have to take enough that they don't notice. Would be a really bad message to put in a kid's game, but it would be really funny. All right, so we're going to head through this area. Because funny enough, Mezagoza has its own loading zone. So in order to get in and out of Mezagoza, you do have to go through a loading zone. And this area kind of feels like it should. Because if you look at it, it's like surrounded by cliffs and everything. It's like very much your typical video game separate area. But turns out you can just climb up the cliff and jump over the side. And so we're going to take a small detour before we go to the town. And here we're going to grab that Adamant mint I was talking about. Right here. It's kind of funny. There are 25 natures in this game. 5 of them don't do anything. And it just so happens that the one nature that is super good for us happens to be the one that is on the path. You do get to keep what you don't spend on the ingredients. This is true. Which is a nice touch. And so it actually makes like those inputs matter, which is fun. All right, so we're going to grab this gym test. This is the bug gym. This is the gym you're canonically supposed to do first. But because the game is open world, you can do it in whatever order you want. And this is probably the hardest gym test for the speedrun. But first, I'm going to menu. We're going to use all those rare candies we didn't use earlier, as well as the Adamant Mint. Do a cool power slide. Which totally wasn't me just mashing B too much to get out of the menu. And this is Olive Roll. Olive Roll is like if Rocket League was in Pokemon and was also using a rugby ball. So really anything can happen. Okay, that's a okay start. That's a good thing. That was a decent test. It wasn't the best I've ever done, but it certainly was not the worst. I had a really bad one yesterday. Now that we've done the gym test, we're just going to leave. It just so happens that the gym test is like on the way out of the town. So it ends up being faster for us to leave and then fly back later to do the gym. Gonna go this way, skip the switchback that you can kind of see on the mini map. That's unfortunate. Love this game. I caught the wild flow off guard. I literally recoiled because I got scared. I don't think I'm the one who caught them off guard. And then, yeah, so now we are on to our next Titan. So this is going to be the Flying Titan. Naturally, the Flying Titan gives you the ability to go on water. However, we're not going to use the ability right away. We're going to be going and doing another Titan first, and then use those two abilities in tandem. I think there's a strong case to make for the backwards jumps to be intended. And the reason I say it is because playing casually, more than once, I have had a situation where I'm at the top of an area and I start to slide down by accident and I'm able to jump my way back up. And so I feel like it's intended to be a prevent you from falling mechanic instead of a climb mechanic, if that makes sense. So we're using it in an unintended way, but I think the actual action is intended. But yeah, so we should be losing time. We're also going to lose because of the route change. We're also going to lose time because of the extra encounter. Like, that's just how the game is. Would be nice to get through the run without the game doing something like that, but can't have everything. I would use average splits, but I don't think I've got good average splits. And also, I think it's going to be broken after the halfway point. Yeah. Skoa, thanks for the good luck. Hope you're doing well. I'll use this until Airy. Thanks. I'm getting sick of this game, I'll tell you that. It's more like I'm getting sick of the game not cooperating. Listen, all right. So I signed up for the Fire Red Leaf Green tournament, but DS is on... Everything is on my radar right now. Everything that I've not already done a lot of, I should say. I don't know if you saw it, but I gave myself a goal to learn basically all the main series games. And it's something I'm going to be doing for a long time. But the idea is to try to get within a certain amount of time to the world record and everything. And I got sidetracked, as I do. I was starting with red. I got sidetracked. But pretty soon I want to get back to that. So DS is on my list. DS is actually, I think Diamond Pearl Glitchless is in my top 3 next games to do. Unfortunately, Usum will have to happen in order for that to happen, so. It depends. I learned the Pearl or Diamond any percent route at one point last year. I never did any runs of it, but I did like a run through of it. I think it really depends on the game and like how much I'm having fun with it. Like, for example, I'm not suggesting this is going to happen by any stretch, but like, let's just say I go to do Diamond Pearl Glitchless and I get the time that I want within just like a couple weeks, but I want to keep playing the game. I might use that as a reason to do Glitched as well. But if I do something like, oh, it takes me like 2.5, 3 months to do one of the games, I'm not going to stick around for the glitched run. Like, at that point, I'm going to be sick of a game. Hit that flittle. This sandstorm is unfortunate. Just, oh, the game heard me. Yeah, so that was a case of, and I will tell you the game that made me implement this rule. So the idea was I wanted to try to get within, I think it's 5% was the number I used. I wanted to get within 5% of the record in each game. However, that's like a 202 in Sapphire, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna get a 202 in Sapphire. That's just not happening. So I adjusted it to be 5% of the record rounded up to the nearest 5 minutes. So if something calls for a 202, then it's actually a 205, basically. And I think what happened with Black White, although this was before your recent Black White 1 record, but what happened with that is like the Black White 2, 5% of Black White 2 is like a 319, which rounds up to 320. And 5% of Black White 1 was like a 320 and change or a 321, which rounds up to a 325. So it's like a drastic change, even though the times are not that different. That being said, your Black White 1 record probably makes it more potential. Like, it probably brings it down a little bit. So we'll see. I mean, I can check it real quick. What was your new time? Well, you said 16 seconds, so that was a 34. Okay. Well, I need to update the sheet anyways. Let me just change this to a 34. And then, whoops. Nope, don't change that number. No, that's still a 325. Is that real? Yeah, so I just adjusted the targets. Those are the like within 5%. So you can see Black 2, White 2 is like just there. Only rounds up by 18 seconds, where Black White 1 rounds up by 4 minutes. I will tell you what game I really liked this rule for, though, is Legends. Legends Arceus. Legends was a like 350 12 or something like that. Like it was really low, and it just gets rounded up to a 340 or 354. And I'm like, yes, I don't have to run it that much. Yeah, I might adjust some of the goals for sure. The idea is I don't want it to be something that I can achieve in... I don't really want to use a time frame. Like, I don't want it to be something that I could realistically get on first runs, whatever first runs mean. But I also don't want it to be something I have to grind for months and months to get. And so that's why it's kind of like this middle ground of times. Like I don't really want it to be, I don't want it to consume my stream, but I also want to like give it a good effort. Cuz like the end goal is I want to be able to have, I don't want to be considered an expert at a game, like all the games, but I do want to be able to like meaningfully contribute. Like for example, if I was on a marathon commentary for a game, I want to be able to meaningfully contribute to it, you know? That's kind of the goal. Not specifically, like that's just the level of experience I want to try to get. I don't actually want to be on everyone's marathon commentaries. It's more of a, I want more familiarity with the games I don't know. And there's this big, wide open, haven't done a single run of anything. That is the DS block. I know, I saw May's tweet. Oh, it's gonna get in, isn't it? Yeah, Heart Gold Soul Silver is one I'm like, Heart Gold Soul Silver is the game I have always wanted to run and never had the motivation to learn. Like, I just think it's a cool run. It's fun to watch. It's a great game. I just have never been able to sit down and learn the game. And so what I might do, like, I think if Heart Gold Soul Silver, if the time in Heart Gold Soul Silver was like 5 minutes higher, I think I could realistically get it without learning the manip route. But I think it's just low enough that I'm gonna have to learn manip. But I will probably learn the game first under manipless. Just to get used to the game, used to the controls, used to how it feels, all that stuff. Knowing where to go. Oh, right. I never updated it. The sheet's from, like, beginning of February, I think. Yeah, beginning of February. February 3rd. Do I ever feel like I'm wasting my life with speedrunning? Not at all. I treat speedrunning... Oh my... What was that? Never made that mistake. I treat speedrunning like a lot of people treat sports. Some people will watch baseball games every night. I do not. It's just... It is a hobby that I use to pass my time. Just like you're spending time on Twitch. So the item movements are really tough to document. They are luckily at a point now where the overall like candy routes for the most part are pretty stagnant. Like they're not changing. One of the problems with documenting them before was the fact that they changed like every day. That being said, what I would personally recommend, not knowing how you learn or anything, just the way I learn best, I would watch the top runs on the leaderboard and copy what they do for their movement. It's really tough to like fully get movement based on maps. And so I would recommend watching the videos, personally. And the first place run in every category should have the most recent route changes. With the exception of, there are some things I think are faster in Victory Road than what Saiyan was doing, but I haven't been able to do enough runs to beat the time. I should be able to beat the time. Within a minute of the PB, or within a minute of record, and I lost a minute in the Elite Four. But all right. So the Dondozo Titan here. Yeah, exactly. Dondozo Titan here is actually the first, or the only Titan that has 3 phases. The first 2 are against Dondozo. The last one will be against Tatsugiri. And it's worth mentioning you do not get healed between the first 2 phases, but you do against the third. And this is also the one Titan where you really want help from your buddy Arvin. This is probably not going to kill, even if I get another takedown here. That's unfortunate. Getting confused is super punishing, mostly because of the animation. Like, hitting yourself is obviously bad too, but the animation just takes so long. That's one of the things that I really don't like about this game, is all the status animations take forever. In the any percent run, you're using Ember on all the first fights, and Ember has a 10% chance to burn. And if you burn something, you literally lose the time equivalent of a full turn. Just because the animation is so bad. But we do get free heal in between that. Luckily here, as long as... Alright. I was going to say, Greedent basically can't not help, but that's not helping. Luckily, as long as he hits his... As long as he hits his takedown here, it's good. Not the best split in the world. That is about a little over 20 seconds worse than my best in my any percent splits. But we had a bit of a troll Dondozo fight, and then Tatsugiri did the taunt. Any other move turn 1, and that's a 2-turn fight. Heck, even if the Tatsugiri targeted me instead with the same move. But that is the final Titan. Let me change this back to... Oh my god, I'm so far behind. That's the final Titan. We could, right now, go and fight Arvin, which is sort of the finale of the Path of Legends storyline, but it wouldn't be useful to do now. So we're going to save that for later. It's kind of funny, not really even for any particular reason. But we get all 18 badges before we do any of the final storyline stuff. because every storyline has the badges that you need for it, but then there's like a finale to it. So in the case of Victory Road, it's the Elite Four champion, and then you fight Nemona. Path of Legends, all you do is fight Arvin, and then for Starfall Street, you fight Clavel and Cassiopeia. Wouldn't be worth it. Just always thinking of potential route improvements. This is a super long load. No one knows why it's super long. There's another load at the very end. Actually, the final load. The load that goes from, like, the end time of any percent to, like, the beginning of the cutscene at the end is, like, a 45-second load. It's ridiculous. But New Amber, another runner of the game, actually found that if you save and reset, like, right before that load, it's super quick. Or not super quick, but it doesn't take 45 minutes. 45 seconds. 45-minute load would be absurd. But no amount of resetting, saving and resetting seems to fix that load that we just went through, so. It's unfortunately just super long. All right, so now that we have the Tatsugiri ability, we can climb up walls. So we have all of our movement options available to us. We're actually going to go do the water gym now. The reason why we wait is because the water gym town is a multi-level town. And so having the ability to climb makes it so we can get up to the top level without having to take the elevator. How does a PB feel when it's greeted by Ed Sheeran? Feels like DMCA. I deleted my golds that were incompatible. I don't know why some of them are still here. Like, the gold here, 723 is not possible. 807's about right. Yeah, so we can literally just climb up the side. And it's sandstorming. What a shock. It is always sandstorming here. If the sandstorm continues into the fight, we instantly lose 8 seconds. But the sandstorm should have the chance to stop before the fight starts. Doesn't have to stop, but it can. Which would be nice. Last time the weather changed, it was at a 9 or a 4. If it changes every 5 minutes, that means it could realistically change like any second now. And what's important is what the weather is when the battle starts. Not if it changes mid-battle, it doesn't count. Come on, stop. Stop. I think this is the start of the battle, so there we go. Unfortunate. It just stopped. But I'm still going to get buffeted with sand. I believe, anyways. Yeah. I love this game. This was something I knew was a thing, but I've never actually had happen to me. What sand? What are you hitting yourself with? All right, so we are going to go ahead and withdraw the Crocolore. So I mentioned earlier that before the 3rd gym, before the 7th gym, and after the 5th gym, you get a Nemona fight. And you're allowed to lose all the Nemona fights. Well, the one that happens after the 5th gym, which is the next one we're going to, happens immediately after the battle. You don't have an opportunity to menu. You don't have an opportunity to change your team or anything like that. So the team you go in and beat the gym leader with is the team you're going to have to face Nemona with. And because of that, we need a Pokemon that can defeat a gym and then lose to Nemona. And the Fire Starter just happens to be the best Pokemon for that. It's the primary reason we use Crocolore as our starter. There are other benefits to using Crocolore as your starter, specifically with the 2 endgame fights, or 2 of the endgame fights. But this is a primary reason as well. So this Croc can one-shot all the Pokemon on Katie's team. It's the Bug Gym, so Fire is perfect against it. And then we have to make sure we don't get high enough level that we can live attacks against Nemona. So that's why we're like only level 20. It's just high enough to one-shot everything and just low enough that we can die. Or we can lose quickly. This is another case of a gym where weather can mess things up. If it starts to rain before this battle starts, then you one-shot everything except for the Teddy Ursa at the end. But you do not one-shot that. So luckily we got no rain here, so we are good to go. And I should save some time here. Old route, I used to teach Incinerate here, but instead I taught it on the Iono split. That'll be a little bit of time we get back. We're also not truly minus 55 seconds, or plus 55, I should say. Between an extra candy pickup and some extra movement that we did for the route change of changing the late game order, we are really only about 18 seconds behind. So like I said, it's about 32 seconds that we of extra movement and stuff that we do. All right, and then here is the Nemona fight. And you can see why we do the fights in the ice gym town for the other ones, is that load is very long. That's actually a very similar load time to other towns as well. Oh, there's no split here. I used to split on the Nemona fights. I don't anymore. I always get ready to split on this particular one. I always get ready to split for. We're going to go ahead and bring Flamingo back to the party. and then make our way toward the Psychic Town. Ooh, I was in a really bad spot. I don't know. Do I make that? I do. Took a really weird angle there. So that's what I tried to do earlier when I was before the Orthworm fight. Where I tried to use my Let's Go Pokemon to pick up the item to avoid getting the encounter. Ooh, nice flittle. Yeah. Yeah. I just wish things were consistent. That's my biggest problem with this game. There are just things that will work one way sometimes and a different way other times. And it's even down to things like lag and text boxes and everything. Like, there's just nothing consistent about the game. Part of the reason I got rid of my Nemona splits is, at least like the one that I just did, when you have turbo, that split is literally hold A for the whole split. So any time variance is the game either not accepting your input on certain frames or like extra lag that happens, or like load times take longer. And you could see variance up to like 3 to 5 seconds. It's a ridiculous amount of time variance for things that should just be static. That's my main gripe with the game, in terms of performance for speedrunning. Like, I have other problems, like I said yesterday, like those invisible encounters. Like, I would take worse performance to get rid of those invisible encounters. But when it comes to performance, it's mostly just the inconsistency that's bugging me. So this minigame here is kind of a silly one. It's not a rhythm game or anything. You just sort of press the right button in the time frame. And you don't even have to press them all. The first round, there are 10 total emotions that you're supposed to show, and you only need to show 2 of them. And in the second round, there are 15, and you need to show 5 of them. It's basically a case of you will fail the test if you've not done a certain amount on every odd number. So at the 7th one, if you haven't done 1 of them, then you will fail. On the 9th one, if you haven't done 2, you will fail. So on the 10th one, as long as you've done 2, you're good. And then so on all the way up to 15. That's something I noticed on the first, like a lot of people's first playthroughs, is they all were trying to mash and stuff, and there's no benefit to getting more than 1 done. It is just wasting time. There's also no benefit to doing it fast. The time still moves down at the same rate. It pauses when you get it correct, so it's not even like there's something there. So you have to make sure you count those. So that's 2. That's 3. 4. One more. 5. I like that you can do wrong ones and it doesn't prevent the time from going down. What if the wrong ones made it go faster? It'd be so annoying. Same. Hard. Same. Well, it'd be more like if the game punishes you, quote unquote, for getting the wrong one by making the window you have to do the right one, like, less. So it'd be like an actual game mechanics to speed it up. But yeah, it probably doesn't actually happen. Yeah, this gym is very, very straightforward. And then even the gym leader, it's just spam one move the whole time. But this is the 6th gym. We have one more gym, and then we're going to take a detour and do a bunch of Starfall Street stuff. That's the one thing. We've done all the Titans. We've done almost all the gyms. We haven't done a single Team Star thing. But we save all those for last because they require having 3 Pokemon. And one thing that's kind of interesting about this game is although it is in some ways correctly advertised as a big open world game where you can do things in any order. Not entirely true. One of the Titans does require Surf to get to, or Glide. I think you need Surf or Glide to get to. So you technically can't do the Dragon Titan first. You would have to do either Bombardier or Great Tusk. But, you know, you could do everything else in whatever order you want. The caveat is obedience is still a thing in this game. Even though I'm using a level 73 Pokemon right now, and I've been using a level 73 since I had 2 badges, obedience is still a factor. It's based on what level you caught the Pokemon, though, which is why I'm able to use this high-level Pokemon this entire run. But because it's based on what level you catch the Pokemon, that means that at the very beginning of the game, I can't just go catch high-level stuff. So since Team Star bases require 3 Pokemon to go through, but you can't catch high-level stuff until you have enough gym badges to have them obey, it does kind of, in a way, lock the bases behind, you know, the gym badges. At least the high-level bases. Basically, you start with level 20 as your obedience cap, and every gym you fight, that cap goes up by 5. So 25 after one gym, 30 after 2, etc. And it gets to the point where after 7 badges, Pokemon up to level 55 will obey us. And we're going to go catch a Pokemon between level of like 48 and 53 to be our second Pokemon. And we're going to use Crocalor as our third. That was a decent Tulip split. The only real hang-up was I had to Let's Go for that one item, which I just wasn't convinced it was going to work, so I kind of waited. So I might lose a little time. That's okay. Go. I split a little early, I think. But you know what? We take those. All right, so now that we have 6 badges, next gym we enter, we will get a Nemona fight. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And now we are finally going to actually do this gym. Now, way back, like maybe 30 minutes into the run. Longer than that. About 45 minutes into the run. We started this gym test, but we did not actually do the gym test yet. So that's why this guy is waiting here for us. He's been waiting out in the cold this whole time. Over an hour. And this is an interesting gym puzzle. This is probably the one I've given the least attention to when it comes to trying to figure out how to do it optimally. At least the ones that like you can do optimally. I probably spent the most time on the stupid Sunflora puzzle. This one I still kind of just hope for the best. The main objective, obviously you're trying to go down the thing. Every gate you miss adds 5 seconds to your timer, and you just have to complete it in under 1:30, including the 5-second penalties. So it's not too difficult to finish with enough time left. It's more a matter of actually finishing 56:20. That's fine. The best time I've gotten is a 56:90. I think I got yesterday. Or 55:90, rather, not 56. All right, so because we have Lechonk in our party, we will be good to lose to Nemona here. Have a fruitful battle, Nemona. Oh no. All right, so now you got to make sure that you swap back to Flamigo before talking to the guy. Otherwise, you start the battle with Lechonk. That's a mistake I've never actually made. I have gone into the Nemona fights with the wrong Pokemon, but I've never gone into the gym leader with the wrong Pokemon. Keys with the raid. Welcome in, everybody. I just got a Discord ping, so I went to see what it was, and I saw, hey, we're doing Elite Four. And now apparently we're not. So I apologize. Hope the stream was fun, even if the run didn't end the best. Hello, Sean D. Thank you for the tier 3 for 33 months. Holy shit. Dampy EQ last move. Oh, no. That sucks. Fuck Don fan. I can get on board with this.
Edapet.
Audrey Azura, thank you for the 28-month resub. Appreciate that. But yeah, welcome in, everyone. We are doing a treasure hunt run. Treasure hunt is any percent, but without the bad parts, as the title says. It's basically the any percent run, but you don't have the 45-minute intro, and you don't have the 45-minute outro. So it's like the main guts of what you do in a normal speed run. And this is our... We're getting to the second half of the run, apparently, time-wise. But this is the like second to last gym we're gonna do. We're about to do all of the Team Star bases, basically, as well as the final gym in the next hour or so. So it's an exciting time of the run. And it doesn't really look like it, but PB is still totally possible, so we should not write it off yet. And I'm going to do my best to finish this run out, regardless of if it's a PB or not. If it makes everyone feel any better, in about an hour, a bit over an hour, we're going to KO a Don fan in this run. So, yep, precisely. It ends right at the end of school, or it starts right at the end of school, and it ends once all 3 of the storylines are completed. I know. I mean, even if this run doesn't finish, I technically have a video I can use. I would just prefer to have one with the more updated strats, even if it's not a PB. All right, so now we're going to go do one of the most stressful parts of the run for me, which involves catching our doubles partner. Excuse you? That was not the best. Are you... I hate slopes in this game. There is the doubles partner I wanted, but it was within a bunch of other Pokemon, so we'll go down here. So there are two Pokemon you can use for this section. We are going for the one that is technically better when it comes to damage output, but has a worse catch rate, which, for some people, myself included, makes it the less preferred option. This area is also pretty bad when it comes to lag, so you just got to try to move the camera around to find a good spot. Nice. That is huge, I'll be honest. Catching a Scyther feels really good in this category. So the two options you have are Scyther or Hawlucha. Both of them work. Scyther just has higher attack, which means there's one fight where your attack stat really matters. So you're more likely to have the faster version of the fight if you're using Scyther. Hawlucha with a backstrike is a guaranteed catch. Scyther with a backstrike is like 60%. So, or maybe a bit better. So maybe it's like 70%. Without a backstrike, it's 40. I know that. But that was a pretty quick catch, I think. My movement getting up over the mountain was not the best, so I might lose some time on that. And then right here, we're going to grab our last candy that we're going to be picking up in the entire run. And we're going to use all of the candies at once after the fight where we get into the base. All right, so one more candy. We got some Luxray guarding it. So this is also the section of the game where one of the kind of big flaws of the game when it comes to speedrunning is really prevalent. And that is the fact that there is no set battle style in this game. You are forced to use the switch battle style, which means we get asked in between all of the fights, or in between the Pokemon on each of these fights, if we want to switch Pokemon. That's why it is very, very important that we do not keep Coco in our party for the entire run, because otherwise we would end up with those every time. But luckily, it only matters for these Team Star battles, and there's only a handful of them to begin with, so it's not too bad as long as you are paying attention. You don't accidentally open your menu. All right, so boxes. We need 3 Pokemon to do this. We do that. $135 attack, that's really high. Cool, so we are now level 82. 82 is going to be, I mean, we're going to finish at 85, but 82 is the last level we're going to get via rare candies. The rest of it's going to come naturally. And this is the first Team Star base. So these Team Star bases involved using the auto battle feature. It's called the Let's Go feature. To battle all these Pokemon. Don't know what happened there. And what you're going to see is me doing these like stutter steps. That is to avoid the send out animation. It's a technique we call stop and go. Basically what happens is the send out animation happens at the same time that the stopping animation happens. And so because of that, oh my god, send out at the right spot, please. Because it's happening at the same time, the animation gets like canceled. And so typically you want to try to get those. Sometimes it's not really possible. If I'm like already where I need to be, because you have to like stop while doing it. Like the whole technique involves stopping. So like here, I'm not going to be able to really do it. I can kind of try to stutter step my way. And that works sometimes. Any major time save? I save about 30 seconds from here to the end on some route differences. In addition to just playing better and stuff like that, potentially. Another thing that's worth mentioning about the star bases is that all of them, but it's most relevant on the poison base, but all of the bases have the potential to have an extraordinarily long load at the end of the auto battle section. Depending on where you are standing when the base finishes, you may or may not get a really long load. The route is done in such a way that we avoid those long loads. But if you don't know what you're doing, you could easily get stuck in... It's literally the difference between a 3-second load and an 18-second load. Alright, so I'm going to lose some time on this split. My base did not go very well. I wasn't supposed to switch to acrobatics yet. Whatever. I need to switch now, so it's fine. That is a Starfall Street fight. This Rethrowing here, so all of the Team Star bosses have their car as the final Pokemon. And they are all monotype for the type that they are. So this is Eri, the fighting base leader. So this is a fighting type Rethrowing. This particular one is a range that we missed. All right, hitting that range would have been really nice. And we got the slowest option, which is the non-damaging move that raises your speed into the damaging. That's never happened before to me, and I am happy about that. And the reason I'm happy about that, even though it might look like that took a while, all of the Team Star bosses have special flavor text that happens the first time they damage you. And so because I didn't take any damage, I didn't get that extra little cutscene that happened. So only losing about 26 seconds there, that is not bad, considering the missed range, the bad movement over the mountain, and the not so great actual base. The base itself didn't go that bad. I just didn't have... There were a couple of spots that I just... Excuse me. I just messed up. Sending out Flamigo in the wrong direction. Rain right now is superbly bad. We are going to switch the next two bases purely because of that. If I were to go do the poison base right now, I would just lose 20 seconds because of the frame rate. That is not an exaggeration. That is a true statement. So luckily, the order for these bases doesn't really matter. Aside from we do the fighting base first, because that's where we are when we end our movement. And we do the fairy base last, because we need our vitamins by then. Other than that, we can do the bases really in any order that we want. Also worth mentioning that the splits that I am now comparing against from here to the end are 100% manufactured. They add up to the correct amount of time, but I tried to take bits and pieces from all of the other splits to like change the order around and do my best. So we might be saving losing time from here on out in unpredictable ways. It may or may not be real time save or loss. It's just I did my best to try and come up with actual splits from here to the end. Otherwise, I'd be just running against blank splits. So doing any base in the rain sucks, but poison base specifically is really bad, so we're going to fight Mela first. It will likely not be raining by the time we fight Mela here. Like, do the actual Mela fight. But if it is raining, it's actually really funny. I just realized my okay. It's fine. What is happening? Why was there such a long black load where it sounded like I was walking around. Hey, Hulk. Thanks for the good luck. Congrats on your shiny Flamigo run. The rain has stopped. This run's been okay. I've gotten a lot of not awesome things happening, but it's fine. Sounds about right. All right, so the Firebase, Crocodile is actually going to be able to help us out because it's a high enough level. However, if it comes up against Nummels, it is less than useful. So if we can, we want to try to avoid Nummels with it. Not always possible, but if it is possible, we try to do it. Like here, I normally go a different way, but I saw that they weren't Nummels there, so I just went for it. That's fine. Give it a try. I don't think it's worth it, personally, the testing I've done. But you can definitely give it a try. That's fair. All right, so because it looks like I'm saving a shitload of time here, I'm just going to say again, all of my splits from here to the end are 100% manufactured and, like, calculated, not real. So did I actually save 30 seconds there? I don't know. Maybe. Probably not. But it is worth mentioning. I tried my best to construct the splits to be as accurate as possible. Like, for example, before I did like Giacomo after Ortega, right? So the Giacomo split would include the post-Ortega fight or the post-Ortega cutscene plus actually doing the dark base. And so instead, I took the post-Mela fight or post-Mela cutscene plus the dark base and made that the dark split like that. So it'll adds up to the right amount at the end. It's just the intermediate splits may not be correct. Thank you, thank you. Are you watching Ringo's run or are you watching the new record? Because I don't know if the new one is on speedrun.com yet. I don't even know where it is, to be honest. I saw it on Twitter, but I don't know where there's a video. It's only a few seconds faster, but it's by Carolio. I think it's the person who's in second place got a faster 325. Or 525, not 325. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but... Alright, cool. I saw it on Twitter, so I know it happened, but I don't know if there's a video. I'll assume on YouTube. Alright, so now that it is... Now that we've done the Firebase out of order, we're going to go do the Poison Base. Yeah, I only mentioned it because I know Ringo's run is from a little bit ago, and they may have made improvements since then. All right. So this is the poison base area. The area with the poison base is a region called Tag Tree Thicket. And this is where Levincia and Cascarafa are the laggiest two cities in the game. This is the laggiest area in the game, in my opinion. Alongside Casaroya Lake. Somebody broke the Japanese record last week, yeah. So actually, the Japanese runs, I don't know if that run has been submitted yet, because I've been seeing, I was waiting for my Victory Road run to get accepted for a while or verified, and there were a bunch of Japanese runs that got verified in the meantime. It's a lower 525. I don't remember exactly what the time is. You might be able to find more information, actually. It might be posted on, like, the Japanese... The Pokemon RTA wiki. Like, Japanese has their own leaderboard website that they use, primarily. And it might be there. I can actually check that real quick. So I have a link somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. It's 525.10. Oh wait, that's actually the one I saw was from February, so this is actually a more recent one. I'm gonna try a Japanese run at some point. Because they a lot of the things that make me not like to run on Japanese or a language I don't know don't apply to this game. Because there's an animation for frickin' everything. I can't do it right now, but in a second I can. That's fine. I feel like this is a fairly high kill count. Maybe not. I should be saving 35 seconds when I go to the Elite Four. There you go, Crisis. I should be saving like 35 seconds when I go to the Elite Four. That being said, I don't know. All of the splits from here to the end, I kind of had to like make up. Because the order has changed since I last did runs, and I wanted my ending to be kind of semi-accurate. So I might not actually be 40 seconds behind. I might be more. I might be less. Probably more. I don't feel like I should have saved 30 seconds on that last split. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Now, granted, I'm doing these out of order, but they had the same time, so, like... Like, I can already see I'm losing time on this, so these two are probably accurate together, but not necessarily accurate each. I didn't save 30 seconds, didn't lose 12. Whatever it's going to be. So one more base, and then we're going to go do our Ghost Gym. Ghost Gym should be a pretty straightforward one. I do want to look up something. Nah, that wouldn't be faster. There's no good way for Scyther to stall a turn, like, and do nothing. Unless I were to reteach a move, which just isn't worth it. It's between that or use Swords Dance, so I think Swords Dance animation is faster than relearning a move. Actually, you know what would probably be optimal is use Air Slash for the first turn. If it misses, that's good because it stalls the turn. And if it hits, it can flinch. No, it's probably better to I'll just use Sword Stance. Alright, so now we go to the dark base. That was super early. Na, na, na. Yeah, I mean it's acceptable to do at level 6. You just by getting to level 7, you just guarantee you don't guarantee a 3-shot, but you make the 3-shot more likely. But you don't actually it doesn't really like help as much as like level 9 for Young Goose does. 9 for Young Goose is way more important. So that's why I primarily do 7 for Arvin, because it's like it's on the way to 9 for Young Goose anyways. Alright, so let me make sure I've got my vitamin count correct. It should be 15 and 0. Because after this base is when we do our shopping. don't know why I opted to go that way. I never do that. Not the best base, but that was fine. And I also can technically get away with... Do I get to see how much money I have? When do I get to see how much money I have? I think it just shows you LP. Actually, I know how I can check this. I can just pull up my treasure hunt PV and see how much money I have before selling stuff. Because I don't think I can get away with selling 0 things. However, I only need to sell about 50k worth of stuff, which I could have a super fast sell menu. If I do it correctly. Because I need enough for 15 vitamins plus... Yeah. Even if I stall a little bit in the menu... Like, I can just plan on selling... that too, yeah. Ideal amount of money I have right now is 124. If I have 124,000, that's perfect. If I've got 114 or more, that's fine too. What's up, Picolax? So 124 is perfect. 114 is fine. I'm probably just going to assume I've got 114. All right, that's fine. Should pretend that didn't happen. All right, so this is the final gym. This is the doubles gym. So this is the primary reason, in addition to like needing 3 Pokemon for the Starfall Street bases. This is the main reason why we catch the specific Pokemon we do in Hawlucha or Scyther. Scyther in this case. Having something that can deal just enough damage to these fights is really, really crucial. And it's even better when your Scyther or Hawlucha has high enough attack to where you can one-shot a specific Pokemon, because there's a contingency plan if you can't. It's just a little bit slower. But this Scyther's actually really good. Pretty high attack, good level. All that jazz. And this is the gym test. The gym test here is literally do 3 back-to-back battles. Which is probably the... Like, it's a fairly inspired one. Like, it's themed really well. But, like, you know, it's just your typical Pokemon experience. Some of the other gym tests are just a lot better. IMO. I mean, that is also true. All right, so this is the fight. I was looking at something on my other monitor. This is the fight that we would have to switch things up a little bit if we had worse attack. So basically, our strategy of wing attack the first Pokemon, acrobatics the second Pokemon works great. However, the Sableye here is actually fairly bulky, and so if the Scyther doesn't have enough attack to one-shot the Sableye, what you instead would do is use the Flamigo to KO the Sableye, use the Scyther to do something. Effectively, what it does doesn't matter, because the Drifloon won't die. but the Drifbloom's only attacking move is self-destruct, so it will KO itself in return. Which is just, it's kind of funny, but it is a little bit slower, which is why we don't typically do it if we can avoid it. Now we're done with the gym test. We have to go back into the gym and start the gym battle. And the gym battle is a little bit more involved than just use the first move on the first Pokemon. So this fight's actually pretty interesting. So this fight has a lot of random cutscenes that can happen during the battle. The gimmick here, we didn't get to see it on those previous fights because all of them were one turn, but the gimmick in this entire gym is whenever a turn happens, they want to give one side a boost. So for example, when I KO a Pokemon on turn 1 of this battle, I'm going to get a boost to my attack and special attack. It's just like coded into the game, like that's what's going to happen. And there are a bunch of these events that will trigger cutscenes. And so this fight is almost always 3 turns. There's only 4 Pokemon in a double battle, so it could be 2 turns. However, she leads a Mimikyu, and Mimikyu has the ability to disguise, which prevents it from being knocked out in one hit. So we are guaranteed to get one cutscene because one cutscene is you KO'd a Pokemon. Cool. You have to try to avoid all of the other cutscenes, or all the other cutscene triggers. And the primary ones that matter are you get a cutscene trigger if you get hit by a super effective move, Rhyme gets a little boost. If you land a critical hit, you get a boost. If you use a super effective move, you get a boost. If you hit one of her Pokemon but don't KO it, you get a boost, or she gets a boost, which is an important one. And another important one is if she sends out her Terra Pokemon as the final solo Pokemon. So what we need to do is we need to break Mimikyu's disguise on turn 1. And then we need to do nothing with Scyther turn 2. So turn 2, Scyther is just going to Swords Dance and do absolutely nothing. And the reason is because this will force her Toxtricity to come out alongside the Mimikyu, as opposed to being the solo final Pokemon. And we won't get that cutscene. So here's that little animation and stuff. We're going to Swords Dance. If you have a Hawlucha here, you can actually use a fighting move, which does nothing, and it's faster because there's no animation associated to it. This is going to have an animation, which is kind of slow, but it's faster than relearning a normal move, for example. So now here, she should just send out Toxtricity, no cutscene associated. And then we finish it off. So very clean fight. This cutscene always happens. This is her terrestrialization event cutscene. Quite a long one. Not as long as Larry's, but it's up there. Definitely saved a lot of time on that split because we didn't have to sell everything. Wisteria, thanks for the good luck. Appreciate it. All right, so that is the final gym. We've now unlocked the Pokemon League, but we have one more base to do before we start getting to endgame stuff. We're gonna go do that base. That is the Fairy base. It is the second highest level of the Starfall bases. And it's another one where Crocalor could help, but it's probably not going to be helping too much. It's mostly going to be Scyther and Flamigo. Whoop. It's fine. Now, I haven't done this movement in so long because we do slightly different movement in Starfall Street. We actually go to a different Pokemon Center. So hopefully I remember how to do this. Let's jump, do this, look up, and then watch the mini-map for a certain spot to fall. Right about here. I overshot it a little bit, but it's all right. I was like, where's the cutscene trigger? Nice. Morgrim has the ability Prankster, which means any of its status moves, of which it has, I believe, 3, will go first. But luckily, we rolled a really good roll. All right, we're going to do a quick little menu here before we start. Before we start the base. The main reason why is we need to use those proteins to buff our attack. And we need to use those proteins to buff our attack. More so for later in the run, but it does help significantly on this fight. And we're also going to use our close combat TM, which we're only going to be using on a couple of Pokemon, but it is worth it to teach. Specifically for 2 Pokemon overall. Close combat's an extremely powerful move. It's 120 base power. However, it has the drawback of it drops your defense and special defense by 1 stage, which is not really the reason we don't use it too much. I mean, it is, but it's like tangentially the reason. It's the reason we don't use it so much because the animation associated with dropping your stats is really, really long. So yeah, you can see here, Crocalor is not able to do too much. Ideally, Crocalor can get paired up against the either these things or the Tinkaton family. Like this is perfect. Crocalor can actually handle those because it has a type advantage. Those are Steel Fairy, which are weak to fire. Even though we are a much lower level. They can handle that. And then, oh my god, the luck. We're just going to sit here, wait. That was a pretty good base. All things considered, that can go a lot worse. All right, so I have a decision to make here if I want to go for a faster version of the fight or a slower version but safer. Let's go for the faster version. Why the hell not? I've told myself I'm going to stop going for the faster version, and here I am. Disregarding. I should go for the safer version. 100%. The thing is, I'm not behind, I don't think. I honestly don't think I'm behind, because I save 30 seconds when I go to the Elite Four. So guard spec here, two main reasons. The first is charm. There we go. And the second reason is because Ortega has Play Rough. Or the Wigglytuff has Play Rough as a move, which can also drop your attack. And there's a move, or a cutscene associated with this, which is primarily why it is slower. Although you pretty much always get hit anyways. So it's really just the turn to... I forgot this thing had cute charm. The turn that I guard spec is the wasted turn. But the main danger actually isn't two-shotting the Starmobile here, which is what would happen. It's the fact that the Dash Bun right before has Baby Doll Eyes, which is a priority move that will drop your attack. And it's possible for the Dash Bun to Baby Doll Eyes you. The Dash Bun lives and Baby Doll Eyes again, which then makes the Starmobile here a 4-shot instead of a 2-shot. But if we do a little bit of setup, we can 1-shot. Yeah, I didn't forget. I was just hadn't gotten there yet. All right. So now we are done with all the badges. And we're going to go fight Arvin first. So in any percent, Arvin is actually fought last. And that's because essentially once you finish all 3 storylines, there is a once you finish all 3 storylines, you have to go to Area 0. And Arvin is the one coordinating the trip to Area 0. And so if you fight Arvin not last, once you've fought everybody, Arvin will give you a phone call that says, hey, we're going to go to Area 0. We got everyone here. Let's go do this. And it's like a 15-second phone call. But if you fight Arvin last, he just sort of adds that as dialogue in his like, hey, you beat me, cool, by the way, let's go to Area 0, and then like that's it. There's more to it, but like that's the general idea. And so you trade 15 seconds of phone call for like 2 seconds extra dialogue, which is obviously way faster. However, in this category, we finish the run on the final story finish, which means the cutscene for the phone call is not included. So we can save those like 2 seconds of dialogue by fighting Arvin early when he's like, I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have enough people. Bye. And then, you know, he's going to give us the phone call basically at the end of the run, right after the run has finished. But nice side effects of this are you can then do the Elite Four at a higher level. You can do Clavel at a higher level. You can do Nemona at a higher level. And so that makes all of those ranges that much better because you are now a level higher. Specifically, the Poppy range, whose Poppy is one of the Elite Four members, is way, way better because instead of being level 82, you're level 83. Level 83 is a level that ends in 0, 3, 5, or 8, which gets a bit of a damage boost in the damage formula. Am I winning yet? No. I don't know. Maybe. Usually I explain everything correctly, but like I throw in a word that like doesn't make any sense and I get tripped up on it. To find the bad parts, the start and the end. So now we're going to go all the way across the map to the lighthouse. And before I can trigger the cutscene as long as I do it inside, I'm fine. I need to make sure I deposit my Pokemon. I'm going to do the menu inside. I like doing the menus inside. Menu lags less. Makes me less frustrated. May not be any faster. But. I do almost all my menus inside the gyms, is what I do. Whenever I can, obviously. Sometimes you can't. I am on the most recent update. So 1.2. I still cannot help you move. Sorry, T-Pat. All right, so we're going to do our menu here. Go into the box. Get rid of Scyther and Crocolore. They have done their part, but it's the Flamigo show. Oh, that's kind of nice, T-Pat. I didn't realize you were just moving in the same apartment place. That saves a lot on movers and whatnot. You have to worry about... I mean, you have to worry about damaging things going from, like, either building to building or floor to floor or whatever. But, like, the in-transit is just so much smaller. All right, so this fight's kind of funny because the Pokemon that is the hardest to KO is not the one you would think. There are a bunch of Pokemon, a bunch of bulky Pokemon. Like there's Cloyster, there's Garganacl, I think that's how you're supposed to say it. There's a ton of these Pokemon. Hardest to KO one is this thing. Run going well. It's going all right. We are in the end game finally. I haven't been here in like literally a month and a half, so I'm excited. Even if this doesn't PB, I will be happy with the run. Mini trips using the same boxes. That sounds about right. And this is also one of the only fights that has any difference depending on your ability. If you are Tangled Feet, you have to close combat the Mabostiff at the end. But if you are Scrappy, you can just go straight through and low kick everything. Dang, this one I feel like... All right, so I've explained it a couple times since the Eri split, but basically every split from Eri to the end is a manufactured split. Things are done in completely different order than my PB, so I ended up basically going, all right, this part of my run would have counted on this split, this part would have counted on that split, and I basically like Frankensteined my split file together to make it work. But I feel like of all the splits so far, that Arvin split is the one that is the closest to accurate. That was pretty good. That split doesn't have a ton of variance, so... Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and enter the Elite Four. I thought it froze. Oh my god. One of the most interesting additions to this game is the fact that the Elite Four can't just simply walk in. Even though we have our 8 badges, we are qualified for the Elite Four. You can't just walk in. We have to do an interview to get in, and it is possible to fail the interview. Geeta can be difficult, but for the most part, I think she's not too bad. Probably like C tier compared to other champions. She's got nice variety on the team. The problem is just the Pokemon chosen are not very good. So now we just say yes to everything and we pass the interview. It's a very stressful part of the run. That's such a funny question. Do you like Pokemon? If you say no, they kick you out. Like, if you say no to that question, you fail the interview. It's actually pretty ridiculous. There are a couple of the questions there that don't actually matter what you say. The how did you get there doesn't matter. It's like I walked, I flew, I rode Koraidon or something. Doesn't matter what you pick. It also doesn't matter what you pick. The question that gets asked twice is, what do you intend to do when you become champion? It doesn't matter what you say there. But all of the other ones do matter. It's really funny if you're not prepared for it, because, like, a lot of times, who the heck remembers the name of, like, a certain gym leader in a certain town and stuff? Like, especially if it's your first time playing, brand new game, all that kind of stuff. The only reason I passed it my first try is because I knew it was coming. So I made sure I knew an answer. All right, so every Elite Four member is pretty straightforward. We are more or less going to either set up or not, and then just one-shot everything. This is for keys. Nice. Not triggering sturdy there is cool. So I mentioned this a while ago. We want enough attack so we can get all of the ranges, but if we have too much attack, then we trigger sturdy there. And so it's actually a range to trigger sturdy with the amount of proteins that we've used. Because we want to guarantee the Bronzong range and the Dunsparce later on Nemona. But that means that we deal more damage. So I think it's like 25% to trigger sturdy. They don't do much different. Makes sense. Classic. This is like my least favorite Pokemon in the Elite Four. Just because it can use Protect. Interesting. I don't see what the... I can... I mean, not selling anything before vitamins is ideal. It's just not always feasible. Because I guess according to this run, I would have been able to afford 15. I actually would have been able to afford the carbos I needed, or all the vitamins I needed. Oh, did they? Interesting. I actually didn't see their run, so I'm happy I came up with the same thing as someone else. I do kind of like it. A lot of people complain about the lack of theming in the room, which I think I also agree with. But all they really had to do was change the color of the room, I think, when each Elite Four member came in. I like the idea. I like the concept of it being one room that changes a lot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can run up that wall. You have to jump at the top, but you can run up most of it. Well, that makes me interested in trying out. If that time apparently seems beatable. $83 by fighting base. I have a route to hit 83 for fighting, but it doesn't guarantee the range on the Starmobile, so I don't do it anymore. That was literally the idea behind it, was so I could one-shot that, and it doesn't even guarantee it. So I'm like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah, it was 75. It was 75 for Tusk. The route I had was 75 for Tusk, 83 for fighting base. Yeah, all their categories start at the very beginning. They don't like the starting in the middle. I don't want to group them all together. Just the Japanese runs all do start at the start. Hey, Jose. How's it going? Kind of rude, but all right. Yeah, I might give a Japanese run a try. I think I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the week. I probably won't stream tomorrow. I'll take today as my Wednesday stream, take tomorrow off, be back on Friday doing something. And I think this weekend I want to do a Chrono Cross run. Yeah, I think the extra L past the 3 is faster than the other L. It is faster if you don't have dash. I know that. I timed that. But I swear I've timed it in the past and it wasn't faster with dash, which doesn't make any sense. So I need to go back and retime stuff. It's been forever since I've timed a bunch of things. And so I could just be like, have something in my mind as the time that's just wrong. I have a couple of things I want to test. I have something I want to test, but I don't know if it would be useful. If it's true, but we'll see. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the 75 for Tusk, 75 for Tusk, 83 for Fighting Base doesn't guarantee anything. It makes some things better, but it's like you could just hit the range on the Fighting Starmobile, stuff like that. Great Tusk is not very good. 75 for Treads, I think, is really good. Critting Tusk is disgusting. I've never crit Tusk. $75 for Dozo is interesting, though. Because I think 75 guarantees the 2-turn Tatsugiri. So even if Greedent is completely useless, it still is a 2-turn. And it makes the 2-shot on Dozo 2 better. But again, it's like things that could just go your way, even if you don't hit that level. So is it worth spending the 15 seconds to get the extra 2 levels? It's a hard judgment call. Yeah, I mean, it certainly helps. My only problem with double Flamigo, really, is the fact that you are guaranteed to see a Scyther. You are not guaranteed to see a Flamigo. I guess you're technically not guaranteed to see a Scyther, but, like, it's really hard to go through there without seeing one. That's my main issue with it. Yeah, exactly. Like, it would be a perfect case, the old route, when we used to come from Medali to go to the Dragon Titan. With that route, you could justify swinging around, getting the fly point, and then going to Tatsugiri and then flying over for the second phase. And like that, I could see if I saw a Flamigo, then go for it. But having to go up there just to find nothing, I think, hurts me more than Scyther breaking out. I think. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it definitely... I mean, I don't know anything about the glitched route, and I won't really ever know anything about it. But it sounds like it makes sense in glitched. That sounds about right, yeah. Ugh. Yeah, exactly. And that's actually why I've stopped looking for Halucha. I much prefer catching Halucha just because it is way more likely to get caught than Scyther is. But like, I've found myself losing so much time just like looking around for a Halucha before climbing over the mountain. And it's like, it's just not as crappy as it is. It's like just making the forward progress and finding something on the way is just so much faster. Alright, this is not Victory Road. I cannot low kick the Nemona. The second of 2 close combats we have to use in the run. So the thing that happens with Flamigos in my experience is it'll charge. And even if you start moving, it doesn't home in on you. So if you can get it to charge at you, dodge it, and get behind it, that'll work. But I've only been able to do that, like, I'm inconsistent with it when I was doing it in Starfall runs. All right, time save here is real. It's the benefit of tagging the center early. That being said, I'm looking at these. I don't, anyone who has run the category, I do not want to actually know. So don't tell me. But looking ahead at these splits, 502 for Clavel doesn't sound right. So I might be losing time here because I constructed my split wrong. I feel like the 531 for the final split makes sense. I feel like 10-12 for Penny is fine. Like 4. It's not a ton. Oh, this run is fine, yeah. This run had issues. I had Invisible Encounter. I had Infinite Fall at one point. I had a bit of a ratio moment going to cast Carafa, if I remember right. I had the whole issue with, like, picking up the candies right before Orthworm. Oh, I had an Infinite Fall where a Satotl ran into me and knocked me out of it. It was actually really funny. I still lost like 10 to 15 seconds. But I got knocked out of the Infinite Fall. It was awesome. Even my start wasn't good. Like, I lost something like 6 seconds over what a typical start, like Cloth Split. This run overall was just kind of mid. All right, so one of the fights that we are trying to get our attack up high enough for is this fight. The final Pokemon in this fight is Quaquaval, which is the final evolution of Quaxley, who's the water starter. And because he terastallizes the Quaquaval, Acrobatics is not super effective, so could save a little bit of time by Acrobaticsing over close combat. And luckily the range for Quaquaval is actually worse, or is better than the range for Bronzong in the Elite Four, which is, and the Dunsparce on Nemona later, which are the two main ranges that we're going for. So it is perfectly fine. But the fact that Clavel here has Quaquaval is actually another good reason why we choose Fuecoco as our starter. Nice. By picking Fuecoco as our starter, Quaquaval is on this fight, and Nemona is going to have Meowscarada. Meowscarada is fast, but not very bulky. So having Meowscarada as the highest level Pokemon we face is beneficial, as opposed to if Skeledirge, which is Fuecoco's final form, was the highest level Pokemon. That would be awful, because that's super bulky. And if Quaquaval was the highest level Pokemon, then it's already almost a range here, so if it's 3 levels or 4 levels higher, it's going to be even worse. Exactly. It's just like, it's a nice bonus on top of the fact that we actually use it for a gym. And apparently 502 was not accurate, because I'm saving a lot of time on a split that is pretty... I mean, I don't remember if I got Effect Sport on my PB. It's totally possible. If this actually PBs, I'm gonna be like slightly upset, because this run was not awesome. It wasn't like 7 encounters bad with a shiny. But it did have its issues. So I haven't actually done this ending. I'm glad I remembered to go here. Oh, I just don't have a Nemona split. It's just rolled into the Penny split. Sorry. I don't know why I don't have a Nemona split, I'll be quite honest. I just never had one. It might be 351. I don't know. I think you'll find that is actually a really good point. I don't know if I timed that. I'm going to assume this way is still faster. Just because you already end up in your room and you don't have to go through the loading zone. Like the same reason we do this in any percent. So the reason we fight Nemona before Penny in any percent is because you're already in your room and you can go straight to the schoolyard instead of having to enter the school and then go to the schoolyard. I think that load is going to be worse than the trip down the stairs, but I actually could be wrong. It's about 12 seconds to get down the stairs all the way, I think is what I timed. It was 12 or 11. I didn't time it in an actual run. I timed it standing where I thought you ended up after Clavel. So, like, it might be somewhere in that ballpark. And loads take a while, so I don't know. Yeah, so this is the worst range in the run, but we guarantee it with the amount of proteins we used. If you don't get that range, you just use close combat. It wastes about 5 seconds, I believe. 5 to 6 seconds because of the defense drop animations. I'm just saying, the loads in this game are pretty long. So I would not be shocked, even though it's 10 seconds of movement, if it's faster to skip the load. Yeah, very fair. The one thing I do know is from Penny to the end is a pretty damn accurate split. So if we are ahead at Penny, then we are PB pace. And have to sit there for another 5 minutes. Classic cutscene that is not skipped, by the way. One fight left. And it is the fight in the entire run with the most setup. Technically ties the way I did Ortega today, but whatever. Takes 2 turns to set up. For what it's worth, I think this is a very nice cutscene. It's just, we have cutscene skip enabled. And then there's a cutscene playing. What's that, Crisis? I think this fight takes more than the 4 minutes that I have allotted in the split, so I'm a little worried. I can't stand no X attack on Ortega. I regularly lose 30 seconds. I have only one time actually gotten the good fight. Yo, what's up, Bungie? So I have sworn off the no X attack Ortega. I was talking a bit to Saiyan about it, because skipping the X attack altogether and getting the best fight is about 10 seconds faster than using the guard spec. But when things go wrong, the guard spec fight is faster. And so it's like, you gamble 10 seconds, but as soon as you get baby doll eyes, you instantly lose 5 seconds to the guard spec fight. Oh, guard spec, no X attack. Okay, that's an interesting idea. I thought of that while I was doing the run today. I didn't end up doing it. But I did think of it. I haven't tried that version. Psychic turn 1 is kind of cringe, but fine. Just because baby doll eyes fail is faster. You do need proteins. Well, with some IVs, you need proteins. If you have 0 IV attack, you need 9 proteins to guarantee it. So if you have 30, then you don't need any proteins. Yeah. You probably need like 2 to guarantee it, but you probably don't realistically need any. My speed F is actually pretty high. As long as the Flamingo obeys you, yeah. Like, as long as it can't be above level 50. If it could be above level 50, that's an issue crisis, but otherwise that would work. So the troll in this fight is the Flareon and Leafeon can both baby doll eyes. And when that happens, it's just slow. It's always 50, then yeah, that would work. How are me and Jess? We're doing all right. We are doing all right. Cool. Because otherwise you hit the ghost. Although it's Mega Kick, so you're probably going to miss anyways. I'm actually surprised I saved that much time. From Eri to the end. I didn't realize I had that much time to save in the end game. Like I said, like about 30 seconds of the time from Eri to the end is saved purely because I already have the... It's like 35 seconds because I already have the fly point at the Pokemon League. Eight months for your 7-year follow age. Damn. I've been streaming too long. Oh, chat, my Twitch account anniversary, not my stream anniversary, but the anniversary of when I created my Twitch account was like 2 weeks ago. We missed it. It turned really old. Nice, nice. Yeah, mine is February 22nd, I want to say. February 22nd. It just turned 14. Oh god, I'm coming up. No. I'm coming up on the years when my Twitch account will have existed for the majority of my life. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. That is scary. Twitch didn't really exist before I think 2011 is when Twitch became a thing. It was Justin TV back then. My account is from Justin TV. Yeah, because I'm 32 and my Twitch account is 14 years old, which is almost half of my life. So, like, in 4 years, my Twitch account will literally be half of my life old, which is disgusting to think about. I don't want to talk about it. Chat, we're almost done. We're so close. And I've actually finished a run. I haven't finished a run in so long. Like, aside from the one-off Violet run I haven't finished a run since January of a full length category. So to both finish and have it be a PB / record. It's kind of cool. And time. Yes. We did it. And this is why you don't do Arvin last. Doesn't sound great. Although it's pretty cold here, so. Let's check out this. This was a good Flamigo. I was happy with this Flamigo for sure. Attack didn't cause any problems early game. And it just went pretty well.